guys. Welcome to this episode of the Trainer Feed. We are your hosts. I am Angel Sanchez. We have David Bravo.
Hello.
And we have Jacques Delajeur.
What's going on, everybody?
So today's guest is Miss Shatera Hillyer. But before we bring her on, just want to ask the guys, how you guys doing?
Okay, I have a little bit of a headache. I ain't get enough sleep last night.
Yeah, my sleep has been trash this week as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, ready for the weekend.
Oh, I'm watching Mortal Kombat, the new movie.
That was
so
good?
So far, the action and the fight scenes are great. The acting is shit, except for like one character. And if you guys watch it, you guys will probably know who I'm talking about. But there's only one character.
Sub-Zero?
I mean, they just say like 3 words. I mean, so no, but it's suck. No, what's crazy though is in the beginning of the movie, it kind of gives you a little background about those characters. Pretty cool. But yeah, no, you'll find out who's the better actor. I think the acting is complete shit though, but the scenes are pretty cool.
How you, Angel? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready, and I'm excited to talk to Shatera. So if you guys haven't met or followed Shatera on Instagram, she is a personal trainer working out of the DC area. She's worked with us together at 76th Street shortly before she left. We were able to see her grow from being starting up her training business to being the fitness professional that she is right now. So very excited to have her on, and let's welcome Miss Shatera Hillyer.
Oh shit.
Hey Shatera.
Shatera.
Hey, what's up?
What's good?
Oh, let me turn this up because I can barely.
Okay. Can you hear us better now?
It'll be good now, hopefully.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome. So how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I actually just got back in from seeing some clients, so I'm just relaxing, all that good stuff. How are y'all? How y'all doing?
We're good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Chilling.
We're making it. We're making it through.
David?
Ooh, kill him. Ooh.
We got
kill
David
him.
blushing. David's
Ooh,
blushing now.
Shatera. Ooh.
David.
How does it feel to almost be a state?
Excuse you, don't disrespect us, okay? Don't disrespect us.
No,
We're
wait.
on our way. We are
I'm
on our way.
I'm serious. I mean, how does it feel? It's a pretty big deal. You'll be the 51st state.
It is. I mean, words really can express. For me personally, I don't think it's going to change much about how I feel. Obviously, some things legally and lawfully will be changing, but I mean, things will feel the same for me for the most part. So yeah.
Cool.
That's cool. It's a big deal. We'll see what the steps are ahead. I think it takes a while, right? It takes there's talks, and then there's just more talks and talks on top of that.
It has to get passed through the Senate now. It was passed through House. The Senate hasn't. So that's a whole nother process.
It's just good that the ball is getting rolling with it and everything. So I'm just happy about that.
Cool. Awesome. So let's start off with just introing yourself and your personal training business. So can you tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So again, my name is Shatera Hillyer, and I teach women how to basically tune out diet culture noise and create routines that work specifically for them. So my business offers 3 different services. I work with people one-on-one, and I'm also coming up with a different program that's going to offer a more holistic approach to the regular personal training, and also a community for support. So that's me.
That's awesome. We've been learning a lot from a lot of our guests about trying to move away from the diet culture, and even people talking down about themselves, right? Saying things like, I'm fat, right? It's you're not fat. You might have adipose tissue on your body, and it might be more than what you like right now, but that's something that's going to change. But it's hard. It's an uphill battle as fitness professionals. I'm sure you've heard so many things.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially being that I work mainly with women, and you know, the language and the verbiage that's used towards women in our society, and how we're supposed to look and what we're supposed to do to get that ideal look is definitely something that I deal with and encounter with many of my clients, and also with myself. I mean, I am not, you know, absent of having days where I feel like, oh, I feel this way. Oh, I shouldn't feel that way. You know, having to kind of talk myself down and out of that way of thinking. So it's definitely a challenge for sure.
And I can attest to that as well. I feel like we need to start from our own point of view. And if we're able to help ourselves, then we're able to help our clients a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But I did want to ask you about your niche. So finding this niche where you're working with women right now in the DC area, I'm sure you're doing online services as well. You know,
Yep.
how did you find your niche? How did you find that? And how did you adapt it to today's kind of like day and age?
Yeah. So honestly, I kind of started with myself. I'm the oldest of three girls, and I'm also the one who has the most curves and the most, you know, everything else. My sisters are very small. They take more so after my father's side. So growing up, it was definitely always a comparison game for me. Like, okay, when am I going to start looking like this? When am I going to start looking like my younger sisters? And when it kind of never came to me, or came for me, I guess, it was more so like, okay, well, what can you do right now to make yourself feel good, because this might never happen for you. And so also just have working with women in my family as well. I have other women in my family who also dealt with the same pressures of, I need to look this way because I see my other family members looking this way, or I see other women who look like me but look this way. So working with myself and then working with my family members helped me to kind of hone in on my niche. And it's exciting because when you see women have that breakthrough and really start to love themselves internally, and it starts to, you know, reflect externally, it's such a beautiful thing. Like, my clients are my biggest inspirations when it comes to that. So it's always super, super exciting. Um, I would say, as far as like in today's culture, you know, we're still in COVID. We're not post COVID yet. So when things shut down, I think it was last March, I had just moved back home to DC. I was getting ready to start a new job in a new position. And not only was that put on hold because of everything happening, but I was quickly forced to kind of pivot online and rely solely on technology. So that presented its own set of challenges. And at the time, I wasn't like fully, truly an entrepreneur yet. So I wasn't responsible for all the things that the gym took care of. Like when I worked at Equinox, so collecting payments, creating contracts, and making sales. I found that I actually became a better coach because of COVID, if I'm being honest. I had to somehow deliver the same experience through a Zoom screen that I had delivered in person. And that included like making sure that my background wasn't too cluttered, that it felt warm, that it felt welcoming. I even started demoing a little bit more just so that people would feel better about me staring at them through a screen and, you know, saying, do this, and verbal cues and stuff like that. So by the grace of God, you know, some of my clients came that I had here in DC, they pivoted with me. Also, some of my clients in New York decided, hey, let's reach out to Shatera. We're doing virtual. And
Nice.
yeah,
That's
and
big. That's
online
loyalty.
for me. Yeah. And I really just got the chance to take advantage of social media, and people. I started getting clients from there. So when that started happening for me, I was like, whoa, this actually works. Go me. Okay. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. I think the tools were always there, but sometimes we get put in a position where you can't do anything else but pivot, or you can't do anything else but move.
Yeah.
And then that helps you start something or continue the practices that you've already had. You're just going to utilize it in a more effective manner. So that way you can like pump out like a good business, pump out
Yeah.
like a good product, have your clients respond to it, be
Yeah.
open to feedback. But it's cool that it's cool for me to see. I'm sure these guys can attest to it as well. You just, you know, growing your business, and I see you're doing your thing on Instagram as well, and I see the difference in the videos and the photos that you've been making, also the language that you've been using in your posts. I've seen that grow from you know, pretty much where we started at 76 to where you're at now, and it's been really cool to watch.
Thank you. Thank you. It's definitely a learning experience. You get better as you go. I think the hardest part, just like with anything, is just getting started. So once I started doing it, like making my little fumbles and little mistakes and stuff like that, I just kept going and it gets easier. I still make mistakes, you know, 'tis life, but it's definitely a lot easier now. So
Yeah, I remember somebody said, don't, I'm going to mess up the quote, but it's something along the lines of like, don't strive for perfection, just do, or something along that line, right? Like I'm butchering it, but
done is better than perfect, something like that.
there you go. Right. So getting your feet on the ground, just moving and then just following the process and starting to work on your craft. And it's not going to be perfect at first, but you might never get perfect. Right? You're always going to find flaws. You're always going to find areas of opportunity, and you're just going to consistently keep doing your thing, and then people will follow you as well. Because people are people as well.
Yeah.
We kind of forget that.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you say that. I was watching one of my favorite adult cartoons is Family Guy, and I was watching one of their very first episodes where like the drawing looked just like something on a piece of paper compared.
They're so different, aren't they?
Yes,
yeah.
It looked so different. And like when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a clear example of like, you know, just starting where you are, and then as you continue to grow, you get better, things change, and like
South Park is kind of like that too.
Yeah.
You watch South Park. First season is complete garbage. I mean, it looks like it. It looks like. I mean, I think the content is great, but it's just, you know, like you said, something very sketched out, nothing crazy, and then later on in the season, it looks so good. I mean, the current seasons look amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you mentioned earlier about helping women break the stigma surrounding weightlifting and you know, body image awareness. How do you do that? Like how do you go about trying to educate your clients? Do you have certain resources you go to? Do you have books that you give them to read, or do you just talk out of pure experience?
I think for me, it's probably a mixture of both. I usually tell my story just because at that point I've developed, you know, a certain rapport with them so they can relate to a certain extent, some of them. I tell my story of starting weightlifting at 14 years old. And now I'm being in my early 30s and, you know, the changes that I've seen. And I also tell them like just the benefits of strength training in that if they just get started, give me 2 to 3 months and they'll feel a difference. I also do provide like different articles that I may find online for them and email that to them. But just any type of like free resource that I can give to them, I send it over and they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Blah, blah. So, yeah.
No, yeah, that's great. I think it's really, I think it's our job always to give out those resources and try to facilitate a lot of that knowledge to them, because the biggest thing is people don't know where to get info from at times. I mean, they could Google something, but when you Google something, you're going to get the ads first, and the ads always say, hey, lose 50 pounds in a week, you know, something like that. And they're like, oh, that sounds, you know, I need to do that and I want to do it in a week. But when we all really know that it's complete, you know, it's a complete lie. Exactly. It's all fabricated to try to make money. You know,
the more glamorous options. Yeah.
No, it gets hard, especially as a trainer, because you have people coming in and they're like, hey, how do I lose 50 pounds in a week or something like that, right? And we had AG here. We always bring this up, where his client wanted to lose, how much was it, like in 2 weeks? He wanted to lose like 30 pounds.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Something like that, because his birthday was coming up or something. And then I think AG was like, no. Like,
he said, can you make me rich in 2 weeks? And he was like,
yeah,
no.
There you go.
And then
Physical
like, so
wealth,
then you can't do it.
Physical wealth and financial wealth. He said, how long did it take you to become this wealthy? And he said, years. And he's like, well, my body has taken me years to be physically this wealthy. So he used that analogy, and it was a good way of like the guy realized in 2 weeks, I can't make that much money in 2 weeks, or can't gain that much ground in 2 weeks of the financial terms. So
I do want to say that I was very impressed. I took a look at your Instagram and I saw that you had speaking to like research and things like that. Like you also have your like your blog that you put up, and you create resources that you can give to your clients as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think that's good.
Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have that.
For sure, especially because like, I mean, I'm really big on like women in the industry and women like myself who look like me. You don't see a lot of us, right? Women of color. So I think it's really important to make our faces known and make our presence known, because a lot of times, you know, people will relate to something or someone that looks like them. So however I can inspire, especially little girls who started out like me, realizing at 6, 7 years old, oh, I look different and society says I should look this way. If they can see someone who looks like them that's telling them, no, actually you don't, you're fine the way you are, focus on this instead of this, then, you know, can set the next generation of little girls and women up for success. So that's super, super important to me.
You said you started weightlifting at what, 14?
Mhm.
What was your background in terms of, you know, how did you start out with your routine? Did you play sports in school or anything like that? How was it?
No, so I'm not an athlete at all, or I'm not an athlete at all. I didn't really play any sports. I played like a little bit of basketball in 9th grade and was like, nah, I'm good. I was gonna play soccer and I was like, nah, I'm good. So yeah, not your conventional.
Soccer's great though. What are you talking about?
It is great. I think it's fun. It's fun to watch. But when it came to that versus, you know, performing, singing, and dancing, I was like, I'm gonna go that way. So I guess in a sense, I'm not the conventional athlete, but I actually started out in my high school. You had an option of like regular PE, or you could do weightlifting. And I was like, you know what? I've done PE my entire life. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this weightlifting. Didn't know that I would be weightlifting with maybe 3 other people, 1 other female and 2 other guys in the football players gym. So I'm this, you know, little girl, little 14-year-old girl in the gym with my gym teacher and all these football players lifting this weight. And that's how it started for me. And I think that is why when I go to the gym now, even if it's a brand new gym, I don't have what a lot of my clients feel as like the embarrassment or the fear of going out on the gym floor. I've
Intimidated.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I don't feel that. And I think it stemmed from me being 14 years old and being thrown in a lot.
That's big.
That's crazy.
That's
a trial by fire.
Yeah, it's like you throw you into the lion's den, and it's kind of like with what's going on, you know, recently. It's like the experience you've had at 14 years old in the weightlifting gym with high school football playing dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you think the environment has changed since then? Like, yeah, I don't know if you've worked with many. I mean, at Equinox, you've worked with a lot of guys. I've seen you work with them. How has it changed in terms of what you've probably heard from these high school football players in terms of, oh, we have a girl here at the gym, and then into having a female, you know, train them, basically training a guy?
Yeah, so I would definitely say it's changed in the sense of, at least in my experience, it's changed in the sense of I am seeing more guys bring females out on the floor with them, be it their sister, a friend, a girlfriend, a wife, whatever it may be. I saw a lot more of that while I was at Equinox, and even at gyms that I worked at prior to Equinox. I think the culture has also changed. There are still some things that are annoying when it comes to being a female working out in a gym, especially by yourself. But I think that there are a lot of things that have changed in regard to females being out on the gym floor, not just being on the cardio machines or in the back using the, you know, the weightlifting machines. You're seeing a lot more females who are on the floor lifting dumbbells, lifting external weight, just out there by themselves or with other people. And I think that the environment, again, at least in my experience, has been a lot more welcoming when it comes to men seeing women on the floor, or just women and men being on the floor together.
Yeah.
If Angel, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask. This is probably a deeper question than it. You know, you made me think about things in a different lens. So I figure I'd throw it out there, and if we can't figure out an answer here right now, that's all good. But how do you feel with your experience in mind, right? Only your experience. How do you feel guys like us can help kind of create a safe space for women in the gym?
That's a really good question.
I get these deep questions for some reason. I don't know.
I think I've you know, that's a great question. I've had thoughts of like, well, we don't want to come off as wanting to give, you know, bad advice.
Definitely,
or, you know, being the guys that are like telling women, oh, this is how you have to do it. So I mean, or back to Angel's question, you know?
Yeah, or even like that's the thing. Sorry, somebody's ringing me. They got the wrong doorbell.
Oh shit!
It rings like 10 times. I'm gonna mute myself. So go ahead, answer David's question.
Angel's question, basically.
if I try to put myself in a man's shoes, what would I want if I were working like with a male trainer and I wanted him to make me feel more comfortable in the gym? I think that I would want him to not treat me like this, like faint little, oh, she can't lift this, so pass her the 5-pound weights. I think that making sure that you as a man don't underestimate what a woman can do. Everybody's different, right? There are some females who can lift 350 pounds. There are some females who can only lift 10 or 15. Everyone's going to be different in their journey. And I think just making that clear and being transparent about, what you want to do or where you're trying to go as far as like, okay, listen, I know your goal is to gain 10 pounds of body of muscle. I don't know. So we're going to start here. And then obviously this is trial and error, right? Like you won't know until you know. So just making sure that the female client knows like, okay, he doesn't think that because I'm a female, I can't do this. And if she offers or if she says, hey, can I try the barbell, not making it seem like, oh, no, that's not for you, or you're not ready for that yet. Obviously, if you know that this person isn't ready for it, this person isn't ready for it, but not automatically shutting this person down. Maybe offering a different alternative to what they want to do that maybe they're not yet ready for. I mean, y'all are pros, y'all know this. But when it comes to females, I think just making sure that at the end of the day, she feels heard and that she feels successful at the end of her session. Not like, okay, he treated me like a female, like I can't do this. So
I was only there for a part, but I think I got a gist of what you were saying. And I wanted to say that it's, even if we're pros, right? Quote, using air quotes here, but even if we're pros, being mindful of the language becomes so important, because I might say to a client, like regardless of male or female, I might say, they might lift it up and they might say, oh, I want to try this weight. Maybe I'm not ready for that. And then I'll be like, yeah, maybe not. You might not be ready for that. And that can be one of those things that just indirectly leads them towards a path that has more negative connotations, as opposed to being more inviting. So that's really helpful. So that way, like, I'm processing it a little bit differently. And I always take like these awkward pauses whenever I'm training clients and they say something. I always try to be PC. So it might take one more second for me to process what they're saying, but it's helpful, I think, in the long run, to take that second before you just snap back to a reply, and then it ends up shutting a door or making them feel less confident, or making them feel like I'm not approachable or I'm not available for help. I'm here to kind of like keep them in their box, which, that's not fair to them.
Yeah. And I think also it continues the stigma that females can't do A, B, C, and D in the gym, or this is a female exercise versus this is a male exercise. That's why I hate them damn bars. What is it? The 45-pound bar and then the women's bar. It's like, no.
The women's 15-kilo bar.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's not a women's bar. It's a smaller,
Yeah. You could be a lighter bar. Why not just call it a lighter bar?
Yeah. I think that just, I don't know, the terminology unfortunately hasn't been changed since wherever York Barbell came up with these two types of barbells. But no, it's right. I have clients that they know of both barbells. I tell them, okay, we have the 20 kilo and then the 15 kilo. That's how I refer to it. And I say, hey, the 15 is a smaller diameter just in case you have small hands or whatever. But there are times where one is being used. Like, let's say we usually use the 15K bar, and then it's being used. I'm like, shit, all right, fuck it. We got the 20. And they're like, oh my God, this is heavier. I said, no, it's not. You're still strong. It's just your grip is really being taxed because it's a thicker bar. But no, but back to what you answered when you answered Angel's question. I think a lot of it comes down to also treating your woman client as equal to like guys. I mean, you just think about how you'll be treating a guy if he's the one wanting to lift more weight and you tell him, well, you're not ready for it yet. Because I think for guys, it's so much easier to tell their male clients, hey, you're not ready for this yet, or we'll get there, rather than telling it to someone else. It's like, well, you have to be a little more careful how you say it, because you don't want to discourage them from ever coming back.
Right.
And I think it's good that you've had exposure to both, because I think now with however, especially with virtual training now, it's kind of like, okay, this is kind of a new ballpark, new era of training. How have you adapted to it? Like what you said, it made you a better coach. In what way?
So my verbal cues have definitely become a lot better, because obviously I can't use my can't use my hands and say, hey, squeeze here, and I want you to feel it here, right? My verbal cues have definitely been upgraded for sure. I think also just learning different ways to make people feel comfortable, especially newbies to fitness, to their fitness journeys, right? I want to say 2 or 3 brand new, straight out the gate, have never touched anything more than a 10-pound weight clients. And when I ask them, via Zoom, hey, go ahead and grab that 20-pound weight, there's always some hesitation. There's always a little bit of pushback at times, but talking them through it, learning how to, sympathize a little bit more, because again, I come from a background where I was just thrown into a football gym and said, hey, there you go. So learning how to sympathize with them.
I always get the look. I recently had a client and said, all right, go grab the 20-pound. And they're like,
right.
And I'm just looking, nodding my head. Yep, go get them damn 20s. Go get the damn 20s. They're like, okay.
Just like conveying that energy, like, girl, you got this. Like, it's nothing. Yeah. This is cake. You got it. So
cool.
I wanted to, when you spoke earlier about being introduced to lifting a 14-year-old, this is something I was already thinking of asking prior to learning about that, but if you could not redo everything, but if you could tell your younger self at 14 what your journey in the training industry, let me phrase it differently. So if you could tell your 14-year-old self going into training anything, what would you tell yourself?
If I could tell my 14-year-old self going into training anything, what would I tell her?
Yeah.
I would tell her to start where you are and enjoy the journey on the way. Because at the time, at 14 years old, I went in with, okay, this is going to make me look like my smaller sisters. I had a goal of, okay, you're going to lose this weight and you're going to look like your sisters. And, I'm a female and I'm a heterosexual female. And I'm like, and the boys are going to want you now. And I would change my mindset to start with where you are and go from there. Because what I didn't know was that my confidence was going to blow through the roof. I didn't know that that the confidence that I built in fitness was going to transfer to all other aspects of my life. Like my performance game leveled up. My confidence when I finally did start getting dates leveled up. I was more confident with just every aspect of my life. I didn't know that would happen at 14 years old. So yeah, I would definitely tell my younger self to, reprioritize some things, but just start where I am. Don't necessarily have a specific goal in mind, or at least if it's going to be a specific goal, let it not be so vanity metric.
That's how I think it's. And so you touched on a really interesting point as well, wanting to be like your sisters, but is it based on what you're saying, everyone's very different genetically, and you're saying that was part of that thought process back then, was wanting to be similar? Is that what you're touching on?
Yep. Again, I'm the oldest of 3 girls. My first sister, we and her are born in the same year, but we look totally different. And then my youngest sister, I think a couple of you may have seen her when I was at Equinox. She would come in. She's like this big.
Diamond? Is that her name? No.
Diamond, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Diamond. That's my youngest sister.
Yeah, I remember. You were training her a couple of times.
Yeah. And so with them being smaller, again, taking from my dad's side, I always just wanted to be like, okay, I want to look like them. They don't have to worry about, not eating after 8 p.m. or not eating everything, and they also they were more active than I was. So I also figured, okay, well, if I do this, and I'll look like them. So the vanity metric goal was the thing for me at 14 years old, which is why I chose strength training over PE. Also, just because I didn't feel like doing PE, if I'm gonna be honest. I was like,
no, you're right. It was so in high school, we also had that option. If you played a varsity sport, you didn't have to do gym class. You could just go into the weight room, or you could just chill. And I played a sport. I played lacrosse like junior and senior year. And after that, I never ever fucking went back to PE class. But no, you're right, 100%. It's like, no, I'm not doing this. Let me go do the cleans and the snatches and the squat that my coach is making us do, which looking back at it, it was kind of like, oh boy, I'm lucky I hurt my back at that point. But yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, like, that was definitely the goal at 14 years old. But again, you don't know what you don't know until you learn it. And I learned it.
It's common that we can look at something, like, if only I thought differently, if I only did this differently, but you learn. And that's a really big piece of advice, I think, for teenagers. I don't know if we have any teenage listeners, but and it's so much easier to say it when we're in our 20s and our 30s that, oh, like, be patient, but it's that mental development hasn't completely finished as a teenager anyway. And isn't it crazy when you think about the comparisons or the thought processes and how much healthier our mental psyche would be if we stop those comparisons. I know it's a little bit of human nature, but those comparisons or like competitiveness with certain things, it can eat away and more often than not be detrimental to our mental health. So I think it sounds as though you've really picked it up and have over time, like, kind of found your way, found your groove. And it's very interesting. You said you're very different to your sisters, because I told these guys, I'm the eldest of siblings. I'm the eldest of 4 boys, and Angel thinks we walk the same, but I'm not listening to that. None of us really look the same either. God. And it's funny because I'd say 2 of my brother, the middle 2, were always like that as well, always stick thin, and I was never like that. So I can relate somewhat to, oh, how come they're a different shape, and that can go on. But how long has it been since you moved out of New York City? I can't remember.
So I left winter of 2019, right before my birthday.
Wow. So
right
if you like 6 months before COVID, I guess.
Yep. So we went on quarantine here. I remember it was March 15th, 2020. I had moved back 3 months prior. So it was 3 months of me being home, and then boom.
How much better is New York?
You know what? So my youngest sister, the one who lived up there as well, she is also here. Well, actually, she was here for a year and then she moved to North Carolina. She recently moved to North Carolina. And there are things that we say, we're like, this New York, this is triggering.
Oh my God.
And there are other times where we're like, oh, New York. So it's like sometimes I miss it, sometimes I don't. But I will be coming up in September because Diana, she and Keith may be going on vacation, and they were like, we need someone to watch the cats. And I was like,
oh shit. All right, perfect.
So yeah, I'll get to, hopefully I highly doubt everything will be back to normal by September. Who knows? Yeah, but I'm excited.
Hopefully, mostly.
Hopefully. I have a concert in September that I'm hoping.
Yeah, me too.
Really? What are you guys gonna see?
I'm gonna go see the greatest rock band ever.
Pearl Jam.
Hell yeah. One of my clients hooked it up. I almost started crying. She texted me at 1 a.m. She's like, David, I got you. I'm like,
she's like, you up?
It was great. Yeah. No. She was just she just sent me a picture of the tickets. I'm like, oh shit, it's happening.
Oh, it's a date. Nice.
That's awesome.
What are you gonna see, Angel? You gonna see Pearl Jam too?
No. I'm gonna see
world, man.
I believe they will. I'm gonna see Joe Rogan. Actually, it was gonna see. It was rescheduled from 2019 at Madison Square Garden, or no, 2020. Sorry. So we'll see. But that's in October, so they rescheduled it to October, and they're holding firm on that. So we'll see what ends up happening.
That's exciting. That's cool.
Yeah, I think things will be a little bit more open when Shatera, when you stop by. I think it'll be pretty good.
How are things over by you though? Like, how are the lockdowns or limitations?
Things are slowly starting to open up. This area is a blue area, thank God. We're definitely taking our time, and I'm proud. I'm happy about that.
And it seems fine, right? Taking your time. There's nothing. I mean, that's a whole nother topic of conversation.
Yeah. But it's DC, so we have a lot of parks. We have a lot of stuff to see. So there are definitely people out, but people are wearing masks. I wouldn't say everyone's social distancing as much anymore because you're going out with your family and your friends and trust them. So I'm guilty of it too. I'll go out with one of my sisters who I haven't seen in 2 weeks. I'm like, hey, all of the but yeah, I want to say for the most part here, it's slowly opening up, but not too quick.
Were you safe during January 6th?
I was. I was perfectly fine. I don't live near the Capitol. Okay. But one of my sisters, she's a detective here, and not in DC. She actually is a detective in Anne Arundel County, Maryland. She decided not to do city police.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because, I don't blame her.
I was gonna say I don't blame her.
Yeah, with everything happening, they actually ended up calling from like the area. So
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
Reinforcements and stuff.
she was gonna have to work it. She got called in to work it, but then luckily they moved her to a different unit, so she didn't have to come. But I told her, I was like, listen, if you gotta go, I'm going down there too.
I got you. Don't worry,
I got you. I don't care.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have one question that just came to mind right now. So you're a singer as well. You're a performer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. She's legit.
Shatera got pipes.
It's a little bit.
Oh, damn.
No, but I was asking because years ago, I had a friend who's also a singer, and she refused to weightlift, saying that it was going to hurt her vocal cords.
Interesting.
Because of the strain apparently that she might do when she's lifting weights. What do you have to say to that? Do you have any experience? Have you ever read anything about that, or have you experienced any change with your weightlifting career?
Nothing. In my experience, nothing changed for the better or for the worse from weightlifting. I would definitely say that when I am more like consistent with weightlifting and like my eating is on, where it should be, my voice sounds better because like dairy and cheese is not the best for singers. But weightlifting never negatively or positively, at least to my knowledge, impacted my vocal cords.
Okay. Why does dairy and cheese have something to do with it? I haven't heard that one either.
Yeah, me neither.
So for me, and again, everybody's body is different. For me, ever since I was like a kid competing in different talent shows and stuff like that, I would always take, I forgot what those pills were that my mom would give me, but they would kind of like dry out the phlegm in my voice.
Was it Lactate or something like that? No.
It wasn't Lactate. It was something like Benadryl, but it wasn't Benadryl.
It would like dry up the phlegm in your throat. What?
Was that Mucinex? Mm-hmm. Mucinex is another one that does that sometimes.
Does Mucinex have pills? Because it was
they have pills, and it's like half blue, half white, or half green, half white sometimes.
Yeah, something like that. I would take it, I want to say maybe an hour or two before my competition or before I was to perform, and it would help to dry out whatever phlegm.
Mucostop.
Yeah, I also am someone who suffers from seasonal allergies. So I wake up in the morning with congestion and phlegm in my throat. And so that definitely, the dairy didn't help with that.
Yeah, it won't help with phlegm usually, right?
Yeah, exactly. It would only add to it. So whenever I had a competition or a performance or a show, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 weeks out, I would always stop, like cut the dairy. So no more yogurt, no more cheese.
Oh, wow.
Up the tea. I was never a coffee drinker, so that was never a thing for me, like adding sugar and milk and stuff like that. But yeah, dairy, I had to cut it out if I had a performance or a competition.
That's a whole prep, just it's a sport, right? I mean, right before you got to prep yourself, like let's say you're having a weightlifting meet or a bodybuilding competition. What is it, like a week prior you start water loading, Angel, or something like that, or is it different? And then you stop drinking water for like a day or two prior.
Oh, you're talking about like bodybuilding?
Yeah, like right before the prep to get all the water out.
Yeah. So they have to like dehydrate themselves, and then they have to like load themselves up to make them be bigger. It works.
Yeah, no, it's a whole sport. No, but that's crazy. I'll keep that in mind if ever I hear anyone say that weightlifting is gonna damage your vocal cords.
No.
I knew it was a little.
I mean, unless you're like screaming while you're lifting the weight, I can do that. Like, you your vocal cords, but...
We have a couple of those members.
Oh you guys ever see that gym
giving birth right before
the gym? There's a video that came out years ago called Gym Wildlife, and it's every member in the club. Have you seen it, Shatera?
Yes.
And there's that. It's like every club, there's always that one member that no one knows why or who he's screaming for, but he's like screaming, and he's usually a guy with chalk, the belt, and it's the stereotypes of everyone in the gym are so funny. And that's what I'm thinking, like when someone screams, no one knows who he's screaming or why they're screaming for, but there's always one in the gym.
Yeah.
Exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but Shatera is a legit singer. Because didn't you do not America's Got Talent, but you tried out for one of those big shows?
Yeah, I did The Voice twice. The first time.
No way. Why am I not knowing this?
Were you on TV?
No. So the second time that I auditioned for The Voice, I was the step before you get on TV.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's so cool, though.
I got cut. And that was the last time I was like, I'm done. I never did America's Got Talent, and I never did American Idol. I had a couple of friends who did American Idol, and their experience, unfortunately, swayed me from wanting to do it.
I've heard stories.
Yeah, I never got the opportunity to do America's Got Talent, or it just never came to my city or a city that I was in when I was available to do it. But The Voice, I mainly went to The Voice because my favorite singer is Christina Aguilera, so I wanted her to choose me.
Would you have done one of her songs right in front of her?
No.
No?
No, I would have been too nervous.
That's a lot of I've seen, there are times where I fall down the YouTube rabbit hole and I'm like watching all these audition tapes and it says best, auditions of songs by the judges or something like that. And they're all like singing. The judges are like, wait, that's my song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever meet like some of those people that you see on TV, or do they have like different judges? I'm sure they're not those three judges there all day just listening to people. It's probably like first wave, second wave.
It's a lot. So the actual like celebrity judges, you don't meet them or see them in person until you make it to that part of the competition where you get to audition in front of them live on TV.
Wow.
Everyone else is more like just the producers. They know exactly what they're looking for, and I can't remember everybody that was there, but it was mainly the producers. I want to say like the behind the scene people who are probably listed at the very end of the credits when it's rolling through. And people like that. So it's normally in the rooms you have maybe one or two people who are auditioning you, and you're auditioning in front of everybody. And then as you move along, it gets like it's less and less people to the point where you're by yourself with the band.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's also another level to it. Like, oh, I don't know these people in this band. I hope they do my song right, not in the wrong, like
wrong key and shit.
Exactly. Because then you gotta adjust. But
damn.
Yeah.
I was one, that's awesome. I didn't know that. I don't know how I didn't know that. It's cool to learn that about you. When I mentioned that you said you came back to the DMV area in like just the end of 2019. What do you miss most about being or training in New York City?
I miss honestly.
You can't say David either. You can't say David.
Say David. Okay. Sorry, David.
You know what? It's fine. Okay.
No, honestly, I miss like the ease of getting around. I love driving. But I didn't realize how much I love just like getting on the train and walking everywhere until I moved back home. I miss the diversity of people. DC is diverse, but it's not as diverse as New York. I can find any and everything in New York. You just gotta look for it. That's not necessarily the case here. I wouldn't say you can't find anything, but it's definitely harder here than it is in New York.
What can't you find?
It's not easy to find like Ethiopian food, or at least I'm just not looking in the right.
Ethiopian food's the one where you eat just with your hands, though, right? Am I right in saying that? There was one restaurant, and my friend took me to it. He's like, "No, you only eat with your hands here," and I was like, "Okay."
I don't know if that's Ethiopian. That sounds.
He told me it was Ethiopian. I could be wrong. He told me, he's like, I've been banging on about this Ethiopian place forever, and it was when I eat with your hands, you have like this almost pancake texture-ish looking thing, and you roll the food up in that. Am I right? Am I on the right lines there?
That's one of the meals. I've had meals like, I forgot the name of it. Lord forgive me. I forgot the name of what you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about. But I've also had meals where I've used like utensils to eat, or maybe it was just me. Like in sushi, sometimes I can't grab sushi with the sticks. Or I can't grab noodles with the sticks. I can grab sushi, but I can't grab noodles. So I'm always like, can I get a fork? I'm so sorry. But
so Ethiopian food. Sorry, I didn't want to cut off. Sorry.
Yeah. So Ethiopian food, at least in my experience, again, is not easy to find here. And then just like the people, like always being, it's a blessing and a curse, I think. Like being around people all the time, I miss it at times, and there's times where I'm like, I'm just so glad I'm not like, around
stuck in the middle of it. Yeah.
So, and honestly, I left Equinox obviously, but I miss everybody there. I miss like y'all. I miss like Kelly and Brian and AG and Javi, who y'all know is the love of my life. No,
baby.
He's gone too, isn't he? He's moved to Dallas now.
Yeah. Texas. He moved to Texas. So yeah, it's a lot of things I miss about New York. And there's some things I don't miss. So it's a blessing and a curse to be here.
I think it's interesting you say that though, with the practicality of getting around, because as soon as I leave the city, I think, oh shit, do I have to rent a car? Like I do. It's a car. It's that or I Uber everywhere, and you're thinking, I maybe should have just rented a car. And it's funny. I always forget about that in New York City because I think about leaving at some point, but I think, yeah, right now all we have to do is pay a monthly or yearly city bike fee, and that's all I have to pay for travel. So I think about that. Let's so if you talk when these guys spoke about like your growth not only at Equinox but prior, where do you see yourself professionally 5 to 10 years from now?
5 to 10 years from now, that's a big jump. So I work really well in like smaller increments. So like 2 to 3 year fate, like
I'll give you 3 years. Let's give me 3.
No. Honestly, in about 3 to 5 years. So right now, my business is mainly one-on-one coaching and also the different membership options that I'm coming up with right now that I'm creating. Hopefully in 3 to 5 years, I am still working within my membership program, but I also want to bring on more speaking engagements. I really want to speak with younger women of color. I really want to speak with younger women. I want to catch them at that early impressionable age when it comes to their bodies and their mind, thinking about their bodies and the things that they're going to be told about what they should look like and what they should do to look this way. I want to be doing speaking engagements. Of course, I want to be doing sponsorships and stuff because, I mean, why not? It's fun.
Hashtag spawns. Hashtag spawns.
You know?
Wait, swipe up for your promo code.
Shatera 20% off.
Shatera 20. Shatera 20 for 20% off.
Exactly. No. But no, I mean, I really want to be one of so many faces that look like me in the fitness industry. When a young girl types in, I don't know, female fitness trainers, I want to be one of many that they see.
One of those inspirational people that and keeping it diverse, right? Because maybe I'm being narrow-minded when I say this, but I feel I see a lot of the same things in terms of whether it's the male or female fitness trends. And that's why when you find that one person that's more about the function than anything, to not saying just promote those, but those are things that more of us can learn from as well, right? If someone's standing in the mirror doing a set of bicep curls, that's great. That's maybe an aesthetic standpoint. But okay, how does someone like I love what you did recently was in the airport, right? It was lunges, squats, and dips. I want to say when you were there. Am I right in saying that? Right?
Yep.
That's people can learn a lot more from that, right? And that's what I think I appreciate about like what you're talking about and what you're trying to achieve as well, and what you're already achieving. Sorry, that's something that more of us, both male and female, can learn from. And I think that's something that I really like that you touched on. So.
Yeah.
See Shatera soon on a TED Talk.
Maybe we'll
see. That'll be fire.
Well, that's the other thing.
She'll be singing on a show before I know. I'd be like, Shatera. Sorry, Angel. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying how, this makes it a little bit easier too, having everything be, or at least for right now, having a lot of things be virtual. So then you can kind of like get the feelers out there and then kind of do your own self-promotion, but also put yourself in different areas and like wear different hats, do some educational talks or like, working with working populations, then maybe kids or maybe older populations. And then you can find some spot that's just like, hey, I really like your style. I like what you're doing. Let's get you in front of our huge group or our huge audience. So hopefully this can help as well, like nudge in the right direction. But I think that it's very cool to see the growth that you've had in the past couple of years that I've known you. And that you're also a very talented person as well. So you wear many hats already. So it's cool to see you in this entrepreneurial stance. This is it's cool. It's cool to check out.
Thanks, Angel. I appreciate that.
With that said, we'll wrap up the podcast, but what we want to know is where can people find out more about you? What's your website? What's your Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram is Shatera. That's Shatera twice. Most people remember it because it's Shakira. So
that's exactly what I just thought.
Exactly. That's exactly why I took it. So I was like, you know what? This is memorable. So why not? So again, Instagram is Shatera. I'm also on YouTube. at Shatera. The YouTube is still building, but it's coming.
Soon.
Exactly. And then my website is www.shaterashatera.com. So
perfect.
Shatera across the board.
That's consistent. That's what helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy to remember.
Yeah, thank you.
Shatera. I just got that in my head now.
God.
Get it all day now.
And then you start singing.
Oh, stop it.
Thank you for joining us today. We
having
look
me.
forward to catching up again and then having you on the
Definitely.
podcast again.
Thank you, Shatera.
Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Good
Thanks,
talking
Shatera.
with y'all.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
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 Cool.
That was awesome.
That was fun.
Cool.
How did I not know she was a singer?
Wow.
Like,
That
no,
just shows how much you care, John.
No,
You just
but
don't even care about asking about people's life.
No. Don't even go down that road, David. You're trying to stare me in here and
Listen,
say
man.
something.
Yeah,
and
then
I'll have to
he's
cut
gonna-
it out.
And he's right. Then we're gonna have
No.
to edit it, and Jacques is gonna start rambling, talking about no, I care about people. And then on a rant.
So it seems.
But anyway, it was great to catch up with Shatera, and it is really cool to see. I think that having spoken with her and kind of helped her along the way, and seeing where she is right now, it's just unbelievable to see. It's cool.
No,
It's rewarding.
100%. Absolutely. I could not agree more.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap this thing up. You guys have any closing thoughts?
We're talking about doing a shoot. I'm excited for our guys, our listeners, our viewers to see some of the content we have coming out.
Mhm.
I'm excited for that.
If you guys have any suggestions, just shoot us a DM.
Definitely.
Also, get your vaccine. New York is open for all New York City run facilities are walk-in appointments now.
For any additional information, head to the CDC official
No.
website.
Yes,
There's no
please.
excuse.
David is
for
not.
getting your vaccine. I am not a healthcare worker. I am merely just a
David Fauci.
No, I'm not my man.
David
Fauci.
Keith Fauci.
I'm not the Fauci. But all I'm saying is getting your vaccine could help save a life.
Chief
Maybe
Keith.
yours.
Potentially, but please look into the CDC for more guidance on that before David crashes this boat into the nearest iceberg.
How this boat is never going to crash. You know why? Because I got my vaccine.
Because it was never floating to begin with.
There you go.
It's the Intrepid.
It's just as simple as getting your vaccine.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, too good.
All right, guys, tune in next week. We'll catch you then.
Bye, guys.
Bye.